Hello, I'm Ron Miscavige, and this is Story Time. And I'm going to read you a story today out of a book I wrote called True Confessions of a Kid. In the future, I'll be continuing on with this, reading you stories out of another book I wrote called Hideouts for Midgets on the Lam. Now, before I get started, I wanted to clear up something that people have been saying this wrong since time immemorial, and I'll tell you what it is. Tomorrow is not my birthday. It's the 84th anniversary of my birthday. I was born January 19th, 1936. So when they say happy birthday to you, they should actually be saying happy birthday anniversary to whatever your name is. And to treat myself, I got myself a brand new nickel-plated in black cornet, which, as you know, I'm a musician. And this is a gorgeous instrument that plays like a beauty. If you request, I'll play a little bit of it on my next story time. But for right now, I just want to get into the story itself. Isn't that a beauty? So, next time you're saying happy birthday to somebody, you're more correct in saying happy birthday anniversary to you. I know I come off like a smartass, but that's all right. I thought I'd clear it up for everybody. All right? So here's today's story, and this is called The Surprise. There were two movie theaters in my hometown, the State Theater and the Victoria Theater. The State Theater was definitely decked out in a low-life style. However, at the time, it was a theater we went to see all of the cowboy and gangster movies, so we didn't give it a rating. We just enjoyed the movies. The restrooms was a different story. You had to hold your breath when you used it. It stunk so bad that if you took one breath, you would gag almost to the point of fainting. Yet on the walls, you would see the standard sayings, and you would wonder how someone could have stayed in there long enough to write them. They had to have been zombies or possibly vampires and didn't need to breathe to live. One notable thing about the State Theater is that the manager was a con man. Here's what I mean. He once promised the fact that Lash LaRue, one of the current cowboy heroes of the movies at the time, whose specialty was using a whip on the bad guys, was going to appear in person on stage, horse and all. This was supposed to happen one Saturday, and naturally all the kids who could muster up the 12 cents, the price of admission, showed up for this. He literally packed out the house with this. We waited expectantly to see Lash come on stage any minute on his horse. After a lengthy pause, the manager came on stage and said, "Sorry to tell you this, but since I know all of you were expecting to see Lash LaRue, he just couldn't make it." Well, we were really disappointed, but after seeing a good cowboy movie, it kind of washed, and on the way home, we speculated as to how come he couldn't make it. Now get this. Think about this for a minute. Top end, that theater, including the balcony and kids standing in the aisle, could maybe hold 200 kids. At 12 cents a kid, that comes to $24. Now, how in the hell can you believe that with that kind of take, this guy was going to pay for train fare for Lash and his horse to come to Mount Carmel to show up at his stage on a Saturday afternoon matinee? Like I said, this guy was a con man. As kids, we were so thrilled that we could see Lash LaRue and his horse, we were willing to believe anything. Now, the Victoria Theater was a different story. This theater had some class. For one thing, it had a beautiful chandelier hanging from the ceiling and some ornamental stuff on the walls. To buy your tickets, there was a kiosk outside, which was pretty nice. An old maid would sit in it when the theater opened for business, and she would hand you your ticket once you put your money through the slot in the thick glass that surrounded her. As a note, Joe Sariski, who is the, quote, hero, unquote, of this story, one time took a can of lighter fluid and poured it on his hand, lit it and quickly stuck it through the slot and said, "One, please." His hand was on fire and all. She moved pretty quick, faster than any of us ever saw her move before. This also was the theater that one of my friends snuck in by walking in backwards so the ticket taker thought he was coming out. Now, it's necessary to give you the layout of this theater so you can understand this story. It had a balcony that if you stood at the rear of it, you could look over the railing and see the last 3 or 4 rows of people downstairs. The balcony is also where the men's and ladies' room were, and also a place where there were cigarette ashtrays so you could smoke if you'd like. Unbeknownst to us, Joe Sariski must have had this planned out way ahead of time, since you just don't happen to have on your person an enema syringe. You know, the one with the red rubber bulb and the black insert device? Here's what he did. He filled the syringe with water from the men's room toilet and went to the rear railing of the balcony. Looking down was a bald-headed guy he selected as his target. Of course, all 3 of us followed him in high interest, waiting to see what he would do. He carefully eyeballed the guy's head, much as a bombardier would do flying on a bombing mission. Joe used the 2-squirt system, resting his wrists on the railing to ensure a solid aim. He gave the bulb a short squeeze, which let out a small globule of water, and then about a half second later, squeezed the bulb flat, unleashing the entire contents. The bald-headed guy felt the first squirt. I'll give this again. The bald-headed guy felt the first squirt on his head and looked up to see what was happening. This caused him to catch the entire contents of the enema syringe on his face. Because of the precise timing of the 2-quart system, he had no time to move. We ducked out the upstairs exits fast. We heard the guy yelling something but couldn't make out for sure. Something possibly like, "You little bastards." Now we're out in the alley outside the theater, laughing our heads off, but nobody said anything. We all realized we missed the movie. It was worth it. That's today's story. I hope you enjoyed it. And I enjoyed doing this. I enjoyed writing them, and I hope it gives you a little relief from, life itself. Sometimes you need a little break from doing your job and handling all the problems. Sit down, watch these, have a laugh, get back to work. It's good to exteriorize yourself from the normal stuff you have to do. And if you ever want to buy these, True Confessions of a Kid and Hideouts for Midgets on the Lam, you can go to my website, therealronmiscavige.com, and order them if you'd like. You can also see what else I do. I do a thing called Life Lessons, and this is advice I give from my observations in life to young people to try to help them out do a little better. And I also do interviews, and they're pretty serious. So that's the other stuff I do, but for right now, this was story time. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have a great day and everything goes your way. So for story time, I'm Ron Miscavige, your host and storyteller. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye for now.